Hello everyone, and welcome to a different kind of trailer video where you enjoy the sultry tones of my Burmese accent, which I know you all love, don't deny it. So, just for this time, these are the games that I enjoyed in 2023. 9 games in all, with a pros and cons system. Which parts of the game I liked, which parts I didn't like. So without further ado, enjoy the video. First game on this list, Tortuga, A Pirate's Tale. Now, I do enjoy these sort of games. They're quite niche. You don't really see many of these kind of pirate games out. There are many aspects of it I like about it. I like the management aspects of it. Were quite a lot of options you could do with the kind of trading and exploration, going around and trading with different areas and choosing which ones you wanted to kind of have high relationships with, and the missions or quest system was pretty good, and it looks pretty good as well. It looks quite nice to kind of go around. It's quite beautiful when you go across the sea and all that. But I found that the combat was overly complicated for what it was. It was turn-based. It's a bit gimmicky. Like you had to travel a certain amount, and the wind kind of against and fall, and arrows on the map. It was a bit overly complicated. It didn't need to be that, you know. And lacking updates. I mean, it's hard to check updates, like previous updates on Epic, because I don't really have any sort of real system like Steam does. But from what I can tell, there's only been one update since, which is not really good, is it, in this modern day? And I think I'll give that one, I mean, if I was to give it a score, I'd give it 5 out of 10, I think, for that one. Hotel Renovator. I did enjoy playing this game. I do like the occasional simulator games, because they're kind of no-brainers, quite enjoyable just to kind of chill out and do that. Hotel Renovator was enjoyable. It looks nice to me. I think it looks pretty nice for a sim game. It has a lot of options with what you can put, the way you can design the rooms and what you can put in them. It's pretty versatile as well, the way you place things and objects, and even when you've got like the kind of job, the mission parts of it where you go around and you clean the rooms and whatnot, and it's good. I like that part of it, and I did enjoy that, but for what I could tell, it was so buggy. They've had a couple of patches since when I was still playing it, and it didn't really change anything. There was a lot of bugs. You've got wallpaper missing when you got in and out of the lift, and things not working. Every time you load the games, things have been missing. You have to redo it, and it would still cost you money. And you know, people that were renting rooms would just like disappear. Like even one of the jobs like would come up and to say that there was someone in there, but there wasn't. It was like empty, and it's got a lot of bugs, little bits and bobs here and there. Also the patches. I found when you look on their Steam page, they have more promotional updates and actual patches kind of content, which is somewhat annoying. And you kind of want that to be kind of worked on a bit more, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the day one release, DLC release, which to me is a red flag. You know, when they release a game and on the same day they release the DLC, it can be a bit dodgy when they do that. It's like, well, a lot of people could say, why isn't it in the game? But again, they do have a lot of content in the game already, so I can see it. But on day one, I probably should have waited a bit, but that's just my opinion. Otherwise, it was quite enjoyable when I played it. I would like to go back to that game at some point and have a blast of it and see if they've updated it, but we'll see. And I think for me, Hotel Renovator is a 5 out of 10. Decent, but could be better. The Troop. A very enjoyable World War II top-down tactical turn-based game. Did enjoy this game very much. It looks nice. The combat feels engaging when you get shot at from tanks or by tanks, or when you shoot your kind of weapons at them. It's like that anticipation of like, you're going to get hit or you're going to hit the target. Oh, it's quite enjoyable. It is graphically demanding in parts, because the high detail in it and the high polygon and kind of I'm playing in 4K I was as well. So I kind of understand that. As before I had my GPU updated, so it was a bit kind of heavy on that, but well worth it. Nice looking game. The combat's it's done really well. It's very engaging. It's accurate as well. I feel that they've got the units accurate for what their pros and cons. There is unfortunately, I found that the turn limit on each of the missions was somewhat annoying. But yeah, the way the missions were as well were kind of separate. They weren't all linked into. I mean, it's meant to be a campaign, but it didn't kind of feel like that. I haven't played it since it's been fully released on the 18th of October 2023. I played it before then, so I mean, there might be some missions at the end, and I may have restructured that kind of campaign. Again, a quite enjoyable game, and I give that a 9 out of 10 because I was pleasantly surprised. Next, we have Raidborn. I enjoy this game. It's a polygon game, and it's a dungeon crawler, and yeah, it's an enjoyable game. I think it's made by like a single developer. I think it is, and they're quite active on the socials, or at least on their Discord. I do put a lot of updates, and they're regular updates. If you look on Steam as well, they've put some nice major updates and increases. So you know that game's going to be developed for a long time, and I've had some kind of positive feedback from players, and it's kind of a lot of people have liked it, I believe. I mean, I liked it. I mean, it looks nice for that sort of game as well. There are some things like the combat feels a bit samey when you go through in areas. It feels, you know, you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. Now, I believe since I've played it, there's been possibly or going to be that you can use magic in there. I don't know. I think it's going to come out soon. I don't know if it's out yet, but it might be. So it gives you more options, as well as I found that it's lacking world interactability, if that's even a word. You can't interact with a lot in the world. You know, you can't pick up weapons that enemy drops. You know, you can't. Well, it didn't used to be when I played it. So there might be updates since. I mean, have a look at that if you're interested in it. With the updates that are regularly coming, I can see them adding all the things that I consider to be cons at the moment when I played. Well, otherwise, a quite enjoyable game, and I advise you to give it a bash if you like those sort of kind of dungeon crawlers. Yeah, and I give it I think a solid 7 out of 10 at the stage when I played it. A game that I probably will go back to at some point, and more than likely give it a higher score. Arena Renovation. Again, another simulator game. Yeah, I mean, again, not a bad looking game for a simulation game. Quite a lot of things you can do, a lot of options to put items in the rooms that you make up. So, you know, a quite an enjoyable experience and easy to play, solid simulation game, really. 2 different game modes I think they had, with the kind of, is it a story-based, mission-based type game mode, as well as the kind of free mode where the money that you earn from doing the jobs you can buy an arena and then kind of make it into what you want, covering a certain criteria of whatever customer base you was going to sell it to, what rooms they want and how many rooms they want and all that. That's pretty good, but there's of course some cons with the updates dramatically lessened. You get the original updates when they were adding arenas, and then there's been one update, a very small update since. That's not very good. Some cleaning products and stuff you can put in shelves, and not a great one. And that was a while ago, and there hasn't been anything since really. And it's still classed as an early access game. There's not really been a lot. They've mainly been promoting other games that the studio does, but you know, it's a Playway publisher, so it's going to be like that. But there's not a lot of replayability for me. When you had to go on the buy mode, the buying the arenas or state to kind of do all, you had to redo the same ones to be able to get the money to buy the next one. And you know, there's so many times you can kind of do that before it's like, yeah, I'm getting bored of that now. And the missions the stadiums you had for the missions, I think there was only 5 you could go through, so it was quite short when you progress through that. Unfortunately, that was lacking there. But not a bad game all in all. Also, some of the items for room types were lacking. I mean, you didn't have anything for tennis. There was no tennis rackets, tennis balls. You know, there were table tennis, but nothing for actually tennis, which is a bit odd. But there you go. Other than that, a solid 6 out of 10, I think, because I still enjoyed the game quite a lot. Jagged Alliance 3. Now, if any of you are Jagged Alliance fans like myself and have played since the beginning, back in the day, you will know the importance of being accurate, and the details matter. Now, I enjoy Jagged Alliance 3, and it's got a lot of very positive. I think it's now overwhelmingly positive on Steam. Now, I think like the other Jagged Alliance game, Back in Action, which was an RTS, really. The combat wasn't turn-based. You could have, and I quite like that game. You could call that game anything, same as Jagged Alliance 3. You could call it something else, and it would still be good. Is it a Jagged Alliance game? Apart from the characters having the same, you know, the mercs having the same names, it kind of it has some of the feeling of the Jagged Alliance, but it doesn't feel like a Jagged Alliance game. Now, a lot of people can argue, oh, it's modern games, it's not going to feel like it because of them games back then, blah 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 blah. You really shouldn't be trying to recapture the old games. Really, you should be just trying to do a new modern version of that. But even though they have, you know, the game looks good, it is enjoyable combat. I found it was quite enjoyable, and it has some of the Jagged Alliance spirit. It really does. Closer than say Back in Action or any other Jagged Alliance games was that one Raid, which I never played. Flashback, which I backed ages ago, but it kind of fell short. Didn't really do anything. But it is missing some of the Jagged Alliance uniqueness previous games, and that we kind of clung on to, and what make them unique. But there are obvious things that they should have put in it as well, like the gear system, the way you do your inventory, having a shared kind of ammo system for your group is not realistic, because you can't all get access to the ammo when you're in the field in combat. Just unrealistic, and it was just slots depending on, I think, their strength. It wasn't, you know, obviously you had the, you know, the helmet and whatnot. It was quite limited. I mean, that was one of the things that a lot of people liked about the original Jagged Alliance 1 and 2, and was the gear. Not just the gear, the way you kind of did your mercs up, but also the options you had in weaponry. There's not a lot of weaponry in this game. There's not a lot of gear. It's quite limited, which I think is the main reason why they didn't have a trader at the beginning, and I don't think they still do. I think they've mentioned they're meant to be putting the was it Bobby Ray's guns and things. Can't remember what it's called now, if that's the accurate shop. As well as the traders that were across the world in the original, was second one specifically. It lacked that, the gear, and also the weapon. There's not a lot of options. Yeah, you could modify your weapons, but that looks nice. That screen does when you're modifying. You could do different things, which is good, but still quite limited. Which I think it was a important part of the Jagged Alliance franchise. That option to be able to kit your kind of groups out, your squads out in a way that you wanted to, which in this one, in Jagged Alliance 3, kind of feels like you just kind of use what you have got available, which, because there's not much options for you to kind of customise and make your squad into a different type of unit, you know, close combat or range or whatnot. It's quite limited. But otherwise, I said, an enjoyable game. And again, a solid 6 out of 10. A good game in its own right, hopefully, being early access and updates. It will, well, I don't know if it's early access actually, thinking about it. Hopefully it will bring more to, you know, the game, and make it feel more like a Jagged Alliance game. Starfield. Now, I think we all know about this game, unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple of years. I think everyone knows about this game. It has the obvious pros and cons, like every game does, and being overshadowed by the obvious success of Baldur's Gate 3. That aside, I'm not a Bethesda fanboy, but I do enjoy their games, and I understand that they really are unique in the way they do the games, but I also noticed that a lot of the stuff that they do is, you know, from one game to another, still very samey, that they've added and they've increased like versions of what they've done in previous games and add-on to its games, but it doesn't feel kind of enough, and I think a lot of people get that. But I still enjoy their games. There's enjoyable quests. There's good voice acting. I like the immersiveness of their worlds and the characters and the main quests and other quests as well. They're pretty good. They have a good variety of gear. Don't quite like how they implemented the different stages of their gear improving, like in their damage and whatnot. Yeah, it's a decent game. Thing is, that game will be so much more better in a couple of years when they eventually release the creation modding tools, and people can really make some proper mods for it. That's when it will really kind of kick in, and when they implement their own, I don't know what it paid DLC, paid mods. I don't know how they're going to try and do that again. We'll see about that. But it has its cons as well. The combat is way too easy, even on hard. Even on harder modes, the combat is quite easy. They're just more like sponges rather than actually clever. It doesn't make them more intelligent, really, so the AI aren't great. Exploration as well, even though initially good, gets old quite quickly, especially when you're walking from one place to another. Now, I didn't like the compactness that was Fallout 4 map. I like Fallout 4, played a lot, but the map's so condensed, you were tripping over like missions and locations and enemies and that all the time. And it's like Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas just spread out a lot more. But there were things that were there in that spread out area. In Starfield, there isn't. You can walk for ages, nothing apart from things that you can scan, collect, or like monsters or well, natural wildlife, flora and fauna that you can interact with in some way, positive or negative, that may be, but there's not a lot else that you come across, hence the modding. But it gets old quick, really, I think, and there's not really any ship exploration as such. So, that's kind of lacking in that area. And of course, the bad optimization. Other than that, again, still solid game. 7 out of 10, I think, from me. I enjoyed it, played quite a few hours of it. I think 300 hours I played. And will go back to it when it's got some good mods, I think. And do it all DLC or both. And we will see. Open World Manager 2. Now, I did play the first one and then got a refund because it's very limited. But again, I think it's either a small team. Well, it's definitely a small team or a single developer. I'm not sure. I think it might be a small team. The second one, it is a true management game. There are still many aspects that they can put more to. But to be honest, there's management games out there that call themselves management games that have a lot less. Not to mention F1, not a manager, 20 whatever. Are not really management games. Not really. Not like other games like this, Open World Manager 2, there's a lot of aspects to it that you can really customize and kind of go the way you want to, and you prioritize things, and you can't do everything. It is difficult. If anyone's watched any of my gameplay vids, I start at the bottom team, and it's hard. It's hard, but good. It wants to be hard. So you've got those, and there's a lot of options for growth in your team as well, with more to come because it's early access and there's definitely going to be more updates, so that's definitely a good sign. And there's regular updates as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to carry on playing that game and enjoying more of it. It still needs to be balanced. There's areas of it which kind of seem, when we see it like the races, it seems like very little of you kind of pushing the drivers or telling them to push more or attack. Doesn't really do anything unless you're driver's got like one more like rating in overtaking or something like that. It kind of feels very much like that. Like it really does depend on the numbers, but otherwise it's not too bad. The graphically dated, definitely. Again, they have said in one of their kind of update, it's not the finished products, and the way it looks as well is meant to be better. That's what they want, and hopefully they will, and they'll pull it off and they'll do it, and they'll be able to have the money and to kind of progress and give everyone what most people want and what they want to give us as customers, as gamers. But all in all, a good game and a solid, I would say at this stage, a 6 out of 10 for Open World Manager, but definitely close to a 7, and more, depending on the updates and what they bring in, could definitely be a lot higher, like an 8 or 9, definitely. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Last but not least, Football Manager 2024. I've been playing this recently. I have not put it on my channel because I actually know very little about football. I'm not a football fan, specifically. I don't support a team. Never have done, really. But I enjoy Football Manager, and the main reason why I started playing Football Manager, I started back in the day of Total Club Manager and then it changed to FIFA Manager, and I played Champions League Manager and Giant Killers and stuff like that back in the day. But Football Manager, I started playing, I think, 2013, I played that a bit, then 2016 a lot, and I played every few years, I think it was. I did play 22 quite a bit, and then I've gone to 24, being the last one of it. It's kind of with the old engine, the way it's going to change to Unity. I like Football Manager, and I went to play Football Manager games. I got onto it because they are really the last true management games. There's not really any games out that I know of that are that management. Of course, I've got an advantage. I've been making the game for many years. I enjoy it, and I do enjoy football. I watch like a lot of highlights and stuff like that, and I've watched matches and stuff like that, and I've learned about football because of Football Manager. About the tactics and what works, what doesn't work, and you know, kind of the rules and things like that. But I do enjoy, and I've got 300 hours in 2024 so far. I know that's nothing really for Football Manager players, but still for me, who's not a football supporter in any way, that's a fair bit, and it's definitely going to grow. I'm definitely going to get multiple. I think I've got nearly 1,000 in 2019 and probably 800 or something in 2022. That's not bad for me, being not a football supporter, but yeah. All in all, a good game and a solid 8 out of 10, I think, for me on that game. There are some things that are kind of, you know, there's still silly things happening in matches that you see that shouldn't be happening. There's random bugs that have been in the game for years, still things that happen, like your search engine suddenly, you know, not doing things even though you have to clear it again, and kind of bugs and little things that your game continues when you haven't pressed continue, and just loads of little things. Now, you all know, anyone who plays Football Manager will know the bugs that have been in the game for years. So, I mean, you will know it more than I will, being that, as I said, I don't play every game. But all in all, very good experience. A game I'm playing this year and will probably continue to play, I would imagine. Again, solid 8 out of 10. Well, that's 9 games that I played in 2023 that I enjoyed. Of course, not all aspects of the games I enjoyed, but for the most part, I've had a good experience with these games. I've only done commentary for this video, and my next video, which will be for the games I'm looking forward to next year, will also be commentary. But I won't make it a regular thing, so I know, you know, the majority of you don't want to listen to my Burmese accent because you can barely understand me, I would imagine. I can barely understand me. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and yeah, I will see you on the next one. You all take care now. Bye bye.